an African-American company that started in the 50s has been able to perpetuate growth and success for over 75 years. I mean, that in itself, you know, I want that to be something that young people of color can say, hey, man, they did it back then. I can do it now.
What is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of the iReach podcast. We've got a very special guest. I know I say that a lot, but we do. We have a lot of special guests, and this is nothing short of that. This is a very special guest today that we have with us. We've got Mr. Michael Russell. He is the CEO of H.J. Russell and Company. And so thank you for joining us today, Mr. Russell. How you doing?
Oh, hey, Paul, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Listen, we got a lot to get into, as we look at just your journey, and then just understanding the lay of the land from your perspective as well, talking through how you've got a chance to get to where you are. Of course, your company as well, that's doing some amazing things. And so, when you look at kind of where you are today, and if you had to just kind of summarize your career journey, talk to us a little bit about how you got into the industry, and then kind of how you got into where you are today when you're looking at leading a company.
Well, Paul, I would almost say I was born into the industry. I am, this company, H.J. Russell and Company, will be celebrating 75 years in 2027. So it was started by my father, Herman Russell. So I was exposed to this business from a very early age. So I certainly understood entrepreneurship. I certainly saw him and my family and my mother and what it took for them to build the foundation of what we have today. And so I was exposed from an early age of visiting job sites, walking property sites, taking Saturday car rides, seeing activities happen, working myself with as soon as you were able to in my house.
Yeah.
You certainly were required to be a part of getting things done. So I've been around it my whole life.
No, that's good. And I think that's one of the things that I think is very interesting when we look at, just the state of the industry right now. Of course, we've got that retirement crisis that's looming over the industry. We're not backfilling the positions at the same rate. And even with some of the work that we do, one of the things that I think is very important is the introduction of construction to young people during some very formative years, like as they are learning about what professions are out there. And so coming up within a family who's already in the industry, you say you were born into it. So during your formative years where you're learning about what careers are actually out there, and then connecting certain skill sets with a career pathway, it seems as if that played a large role. And then having, right, your father being in the industry as well, somebody that you're looking up to and very influential, those things playing some large factors into you choosing this profession as well. Would you say so?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and I'm a big believer when I talk to young people about this profession or whatever your passion is. You really do have to find something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And that you enjoy being a part of. And fortunately, having grown up in the real estate construction industry, I found that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people. I enjoyed the energy of it. I enjoyed the tangibleness of it, is what I like to say, because this industry, you get to see your finished product.
Yeah.
You get to touch it. You get to feel it. You get to come back 20 years from now and see it. And I think that's a very interesting aspect of the real estate and construction industry. Is very tangible, and every project, every opportunity is different. So I found that I enjoyed it early on, and I was fortunate to be able to stay in it and have the skill set to be able to be impactful in the
Yeah, yeah.
industry.
Now, when you were transitioning, I would say kind of from adolescence to young adulthood, right? Going through education and then really ready to move into a career full time. Was there ever any thoughts or considerations at that point where it was really time to lock in and make a decision? Were there any, did you have options kind of on the
Yeah,
table, or did you know from early on,
right,
like, this is
right.
exactly what I'm going to do, and you stuck with it all the way?
Well, I always enjoyed the industry, even when I was 16, when I was working summertime, summer jobs
Yeah.
on job sites, when I was exposed to the industry, I always enjoyed it. So I never really was thinking, well, do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be a lawyer? I mean, I never really saw myself there. I always enjoyed this industry. I didn't know exactly how I would fit into our organizations, what I would do. And in fact, I worked outside of our organization when I first came out of college, but I always enjoyed the industry and always thought I could find a role and bring value in the industry. So, which for me, it, it made it certainly easier because I always, again, enjoyed what I saw as a career opportunity for me.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So you mentioned, right, you kind of took over from your father. And of course you step into a role and you have your own goals as well. And and so when you think about kind of that process and all of that entailed, what were some of the biggest lessons like you learned transitioning from like your father's leadership to your own?
Well, I think one thing when you think about a company, like ours that is of some scale, I didn't take over from my father. I didn't come into the business to take over from my father. I came
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
business and just went to work and worked in the business and worked my way up in the business and gained the respect and the confidence of not only my father but other key people I think in the organization that allowed me to eventually take over from my father. I was with the company for, well, I was out of college almost 16 years before I stepped into the seat that I'm in now.
Mm,
So I worked in the business, I worked in the industry for a while. So I think that's one important thing. I don't
yeah,
believe in any business that you can just step into somebody's role. You have to show you deserve and you earn that and you have the skill set
yep,
to, be able to stay in that role. So so my transition was certainly working in the business, was learning, being exposed to different facets of the industry and eventually being in a position that my father, provided me the opportunity to succeed him.
yeah, yeah. No, that's good, and I'm glad you leaned into that. In terms of doing the work and being able to work yourself up to that position, right?
Right.
And gaining that respect of other key people. Especially if you can see this picture behind me, right? We do a lot with young people and introducing them to construction
I love it.
and just different career pathways that exist, but also connecting their skill sets, their gifting, and allowing that to open doors for them just in general about a career pathway that they're interested in. But we live in a very instantaneous, right,
Yes.
society now. And so I think that's very important because you still have to put in that work. Anything worth having is worth working for. And,
Right.
you don't go from A to Z in one step, right? So it's being able to put in that work, allowing things to kind of dovetail off of, each other. And then ultimately you kind of get to these places, but never negating the process, right? There's still a
Yes.
process. And I think that's super important. So I'm glad you leaned into that a bit.
Yes.
So when you think about kind of where you are today and, sticking with putting in the work, what would you say kind of your biggest challenge was?
I think my biggest challenge was being able to come into this organization and one show my own worth. I mean, yes, I had to work my way. I had to to earn and show people and gain the respect and confidence. But I was the founder's son. I mean, I'm not dismissing that. That is real. So it's some thought. Hey, look, can this young fella, can he step up and take more leadership and bring value to the organization? So I think when you think about a generational company, because that's what we are now. I mean, from a leadership point of view, we're squarely in the second generation running a business that's a family-owned business. So for me, I think, particularly once my father passed, was people saying, "Hey, can Michael Russell, can he continue to lead this company and continue to see it grow and prosper?" So just people believing. You always got doubters, you always got haters, you always got all kind of people on the sideline. So I think that aspect of it was important. And two, I mean, the challenge was understanding that I had to really, define my own footsteps. I think what my father accomplished in his time was unique, impactful, powerful, and those shoes were his shoes. And I had to really create my own path and create my own, um, impact. And I think over these years I've been able to do that. But those were probably the biggest challenges.
Right. What's thus far, what's been your proudest moment?
Well, I think my proudest moment is one, the company now is at a size and a stature, bigger than it ever was.
Yeah.
So that in itself is impactful. I think two, we've been able to expand our operations outside of Atlanta. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia, but we have offices in Dallas. We have an office in Boston, Massachusetts. We work in some of our sectors. We're working all over the nation. So, being able to take a business that was mainly Atlanta centric and grow that in other geographical areas and increase opportunities to be impactful in other areas.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because, when you think about, where the company is and you guys are growing, you set, what is it, a $1 billion revenue target.
Yes.
Like what's driving that growth?
Well, one is just generally, again, the breadth of offices we have and opportunities. And one market sector that's really driving it is the data center market. We're building for some of the hyperscalers in helping them supply their need around the technology, specifically artificial AI.
Yeah, AI.
Artificial intelligence and all the capacity that's driving in the marketplace. And one of the things that's one of our goals is to, in the next few years, to be able to build one of these data centers with Russell leading the project. And these are $500 million projects themselves.
Yeah.
So, that is one of the real big accelerants to allow us to get to that $1 billion spot. And we're confident and continuing to move solidly in that direction.
Yeah, no, that is that's great. I mean, it's inspirational when you think about, generational legacy, seeing our community represented in such a high level and
Yes.
associated with, companies that are household names and being one of the largest Black owned construction and real estate development companies. I mean, that's super inspirational. And so just a big round of applause, man, just for the work that you've been able to do, being a representation of our community is inspirational to me. Right. And
Yeah.
so
Thank you,
I'm
brother.
sure that it is for others as well. When you think about the components of leadership and growing as well, when you think about that intentionality though of maintaining kind of culture, if you will, like talk to us a little bit, in terms of when you're scaling, like maintaining that culture and purpose of the organization and not necessarily losing the essence of who you guys are.
Yeah. Well, that definitely is an art,
Yeah.
of accomplishing that. I think, one, companies do have to have a culture, and they have to have kind of you know, a, um, a vision of what they stand for, and I think that our company has been able to do that successfully, going back to my father's leadership and his foundation of this company. So, being able to stay consistent with that, being able to attract and retain the right talent, because it's a people business. At the end of the day, I mean, we're builders, but at the end of the day, we are providing a service that people really provide. You got to have systems, you got to have controls, but it's people that deliver it on a day-to-day basis. So, you have to figure out a way that you can attract and retain quality people to have sustainability. But certainly, I think again, construction industry is very critical. If you really want to look in the industry, the people who are having success have people who've been with them, who've grown with them, and they have helped establish that culture and that reputation that you see in the industry. So, for me, it's that's really what it's about. How do you attract, retain the right people? How do you create an environment where they are continuing to grow and they feel that as the company does well, they can do well? You got to have systems in place where, everybody is operating from some guidelines and within some guideposts that set clear expectations. And at the end of the day, you gotta stay relevant with what your clients want and understand what's important to them, because we're providing a service again. So it's not about what I want, it's about what they want, and making sure you're working with clients that you can have compatibility about what they want, and you can deliver it. So, we could go on and on about some of the other things, but those are some of the key things that I've learned and I've seen in our own evolution.
When you think about just kind of where we are as an industry, what are some of the things that you think you would like to kind of see change? Maybe some of the things that have worked for you all, especially in terms of getting a younger demographic
Mm.
interested or more visibility to the industry
Right.
of construction so that they can really make an informed decision about it.
Yeah, I think some of the things that need to change is construction is still, is not considered for many people, including schools, including people who help shape, what our young people want to do. It's not necessarily considered a attractive industry, or one that people want to go into. And I think that's not true. I think this industry is one that is very exciting. I mean, you can make a great living. It's very interesting. If you like people, it's a super people centric environment. So really repositioning what this industry is all about. It's very technology heavy, so all the things that a lot of young people are into, you can be into it and be in this industry. So I think really, repositioning how the industry is portrayed is important. And frankly, continuing to promote diversity in the industry, because this
Yeah.
this industry is certainly becoming, from a racial perspective, more diverse. From a gender perspective, more women are being more impactful in the industry, and I think that will continue to be important for the health of this industry. It's not a white male industry anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of different people. So I think, continuing to promote and encourage diversity, repositioning or enhancing the imagery of the industry is important. And again, just making sure that you're getting out here, and as you said earlier, making sure the young people know this is an option for them. And in fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, middle school,
Yeah.
start to expose them that this is something they can do, is all important factors that I think would be that, we in the industry need to continue to get better around.
Yeah. No, that's good. Definitely, with repurposing and reposturing the industry, promoting it a little bit more, things are, changing, especially post COVID, even with the interactions with schools. You
Right.
know, you don't even have the you still have the typical career fairs that are taking place, and those are good, but there's even more ways to engage schools, get in front of students, leaning into digital platforms and things of that nature, you know. And so it's being able to understand like how things have shifted with building partnerships and relationships with schools so that you can continue to increase that visibility to young people and let them know what their career opportunities are, leveraging construction projects and sites
Hmm.
to kind of bring them behind that proverbial construction fence and allowing it to be more community centric so that they can see what's taking place in their communities as well.
But
And they're getting visibility to different career pathways that exist. So that's important. And then representation. If I can see myself being represented in the
yep,
industry and in certain positions, now I can envision myself being there, right? And so that
sure,
representation is very important, especially
very
as
much
this
so.
demographic that's coming up, it's the most diverse, right? So how do we lean into that and recognize that and make sure that we are developing cultures that are conducive enough to our success, right? So now that's very good. And kind of sticking with young people here. What would you say, especially as for us, we try to get this in front of those who are in high school. So they're thinking about next steps, right? They are
Sure.
weighing options about, post-secondary, whether they're going to college, tech schools, whether they're going straight into the workforce. They've got CTE programs now, which is career and technical education, where there's about 19 clusters, but construction is one of them. And so, we have an audience of young people as well that are listening in to these type of conversations with the average podcast. And so, what would you tell those young people who are about to transition into young adulthood about how this industry could be for them? Maybe something that they don't know that would be beneficial for them to make an informed decision.
Well, I think one point is, all of those different kind of mediums you mentioned, trade school, college, workforce development, you can enter this industry through all of those.
Yeah.
So it's multiple entry points into construction. And you can start in one and develop into another. So I think that's one of the unique things about the industry. Um, Two, technology is playing a key role. I mean, I know I think people think about building and they think about, hey man, this is more of a physical labor thing. Well, that's true. You definitely have a workforce out here who's executing every day and frankly can make a good living doing that. Um, but two, you have technology playing a very key role from the design, from the management, from how we oversee and schedule and how we present these projects. Technology is playing a very key role. So it provides that. And three, this industry to me, what's cool about it is that it's so different. I mean, each project is different, each opportunity is different. You get to see different things all the time in the industry. And frankly, if you like working with people and you like solving problems, to me, it's a fantastic industry. You get a chance to work with so many different personalities. It's really about solving problems and getting those problems corrected and working through them to really get to a finished product. And that's if you enjoy that, if you have a skill set for that, I think again, the construction related industry is just it's a great opportunity for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As you have a very close, connection with the term legacy, right? Because you're living that out. And so of course you're thinking generationally, right? And so, what would you want to kind of leave the next generation, those who are following behind your footsteps?
Well, one, I mean that an African American company that started in the 50s
Yeah.
has been able to perpetuate growth and success for over 75 years. I mean, that in itself, you know, I mean, it. I want that to be something that young young people of color can say, "Hey, man, they did it back then."
Yeah.
I can do it now. So that's one. Two is really the aspect of just being excellent. I mean, we're a black owned company, but we consider ourselves just a top level performer in the industry. I mean, we're not in this industry and we don't have success in this industry because we're a black owned company. Yeah, that differentiates us in some ways, but it's all about being able to execute for your clients, and they want to see you the next time that
Yeah.
they have an opportunity. So, perpetuate the point of, hey, this business, and any business you get into, if you're excellent in what you deliver, you can have success. And I guess the other thing, Paul, is just to, be willing to step outside the box and do something different. I mean, I think people who are really successful don't have to follow behind everybody else. They have the wherewithal, they have whatever it takes to say, look, I think something could be done a different way, or I could do something different, and have the courage and the conviction and the work ethic
Yeah.
to stick with it. And I would like to think the Russell Company will be a model for future young entrepreneurs and young people who want to be in this industry.
Yeah, no, that is well said. Oh man, Mr. Russell, I thank you for joining us today. Leaving us with those nuggets, those gems, especially here on the back end. Hopefully we get a chance to do this again because you're continuing to do great work, making impact in our community. And like I said earlier, super inspirational just for me personally, and I'm sure others share the same sentiments. And so, continued much success to you. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Paul, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed it.